Before time was, before space stretched its first tentative limb, there was Nun, an expanse so profound, so utterly without beginning or end, that to call it nothingness would be a profound misjudgment. It was not an absence, but an everything that was not yet, a liquid darkness, a vast, swirling abyss of primordial waters, still and deep beyond comprehension. In this boundless, lightless ocean, the very concept of up or down had no meaning, for all was one continuous, featureless depth. Within this fathomless expanse, something stirred, not with movement, but with an inherent, unarticulated sentience. This was Nun himself, the personification of the primeval ocean, the source of all existence yet to be. He was the chaotic void, the unformed potential, the silent hum before the song. And from his very essence, a counterpart began to differentiate, a reflection, a partner in the quietude. Naunet was the feminine aspect of the deep, an echo of Nun's infinite fluidity, yet distinct. Where Nun was the inert static potential, Naunet was the dynamic flowing possibility. She was the current within the stillness, the subtle ripple across the surface of the featureless deep, though no surface yet existed. Together, Nun and Naunet were the first whisper of duality in the utter singularity, the first suggestion that even in perfect unity, there could be a delicate balance of opposing forces. They did not speak, for there was no sound to be made, no air to carry it, no ear to hear. Their communication was a primordial empathy, a shared consciousness woven from the fabric of the deep. Nun felt the vastness of his own being, the heavy potential of all that lay dormant within him. Naunet, in turn, felt the currents of nascent energy, the yearning for form, for manifestation, for a beginning to emerge from the endless continuation. This silent dialogue of being and becoming was the first, most subtle tremor in the heart of chaos. The presence of Nun and Naunet, though silent and largely unmoving, was not entirely solitary. From the boundless stretches that Nun embodied, two more began to coalesce, not from a violent rending, but from a gentle differentiation, like motes of dust in an unseen beam. These were Heh and Hauhet. Heh was the spirit of infinite space, the endless expanse that defined the scope of Nun's watery realm. He was the very concept of how much, an immeasurable vastness that gave dimension to the formless. If Nun was the water itself, Heh was the basin, though a basin without walls or bottom. He was the boundless freedom, the limitless reach, the space where anything could be. Hauhet, his counterpart, embodied the infinite time, the eternity that stretched before and after creation. She was the how long, the unceasing flow that allowed for cycles, for duration, for the very possibility of events unfolding. In the undifferentiated realm, time was not marked by days or seasons, but by an eternal present, a state of being that simply was. Hauhet was the subtle, imperceptible shift in this eternal present, the promise of unfolding moments. Boundless, it conveyed, his presence a sensation of utter expansion reaching beyond comprehension. Without end and without beginning, Hauhet resonated, her essence a sensation of ceaseless continuation, a stream without source or mouth, always. Their being defined the parameters of the primordial abyss, providing the fundamental principles of measurement, even if those measurements were infinite. Without Heh and Hauhet, the stillness of Nun would be a static point. With them, it became a limitless field. They were the gentle breath that expanded the universe, giving it the potential for vastness and longevity, allowing for the grand unfolding that was yet to come. Their presence was a quiet acknowledgement that the cosmic stage, though dark and empty, was prepared for an epic play. Following the expansive nature of Heh and Hauhet, the very essence of the unlit abyss began to take on a more defined characteristic, not as a physical form, but as a conceptual presence. These were Kuk and Kauket, the personifications of primordial darkness itself. Kuk was the impenetrable gloom, the deep, abiding blackness that enveloped all. He was not merely the absence of light, but the substance of night, the profound mystery of the unseeable. His presence was a heavy cloak, an infinite curtain drawn over the potential stage of existence. He was the ultimate concealment, the secret keeper of the universe. Kauket, his feminine aspect, was the darkness made active, the shadow that dances on the edge of perception, even when no light exists to cast it. She was the unknown, the mystery that beckons, the silent promise of what lies beyond the veil. If Kuk was the absolute black, Kauket was the subtle shift within that blackness, the hint of depths yet to be explored. Here, Kuk resonated, his presence a dense pressure. Nothing is revealed, and yet Kauket's essence rippled like unseen currents. Everything is possible within the unseen. Their existence was crucial, for without the profound darkness they embodied, the concept of light would hold no meaning. They provided the contrast, the deep canvas upon which the vibrant hues of creation would one day be painted. Their presence imbued the primordial realm with an air of ancient secrets, of deep unfathomable wisdom held within the unlit heart of the cosmos. They were the guardians of the original state, the gatekeepers of the ultimate mystery, allowing for the eventual spectacular unveiling. The primordial ocean was now defined by its water, its boundless space and time, and its profound, all-encompassing darkness. The final pair to emerge from the undifferentiated potential of Nun were Amun and Amaunet. They were, in a way, the most subtle and yet the most powerful, for their essence was concealment, the hidden force that would eventually drive all manifestation. Amun was the breath of life unseen, the wind that stirs without being perceived, the essence of that which is hidden. He was the invisible power, the silent strength, the unmanifested potential, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. He was the secret heart of the universe, the subtle vibration that would resonate through all creation. Amaunet, his female counterpart, was the hidden reality, the secret truth, the mystery that underpins all existence. She was the unseen wisdom, the quiet authority, the veiled power that would guide the unfolding of the cosmos. If Amun was the concealed spark, Amaunet was the unseen hand that nurtured its potential. "I am the unseen," Amun projected, his presence a gentle, persistent pressure, a quiet conviction that something grand lay beneath the surface, the power yet to be named. "And I am the whisper," Amaunet echoed, her essence a deep, knowing calm, the truth waiting to be heard. Together, Amun and Amaunet completed the Ogdoad, the 8 primeval deities. Nun and Naunet were the waters, the source of all. Heh and Hauhet were the boundless space and infinite time. Kuk and Kauket were the impenetrable darkness, and Amun and Amaunet were the hidden creative power, the force that would set everything into motion. They were the culmination of potential, the quiet architects of what was to come. Their combined presences, though still silent and largely conceptual, now filled the primordial abyss, a complete circle of primal forces, awaiting the signal, the spark, the urge, to transform the eternal darkness into something else entirely. The stage was set, the players assembled, though they remained unaware of the magnificent drama they were about to enact. A shift, subtle yet profound, began to ripple through the infinite stillness of Nun. It was not a physical wave, for there was no physical yet, but a conceptual tremor, an agitation in the very fabric of primordial consciousness. For eons, the Ogdoad had existed in a state of harmonious, if passive, being. Nun and Naunet, the waters, had cradled the others in their depths. Heh and Hauhet had provided the endless expanse. Kuk and Kauket had cast the eternal shadow, and Amun and Amaunet had held the silent potential. But now a new sensation began to emerge from Nun himself, a longing, an insistent, almost gravitational pull towards something more. It was the first inkling of creation, the inherent urge within the primordial waters to give birth. The stillness. "It grows heavy," Nun's essence projected, a deep, resonating hum felt by all 8. It wasn't a complaint, but an observation, a recognition of a burgeoning pressure from within. Naunet, ever the flowing current, responded with a ripple of anticipation. The waters yearn Nun, they seek form, direction, a channel for their boundless flow. Her presence suggested movement, an implicit desire to break the eternal cycle of sameness. the tremor intensified. It was like a faint heartbeat in the heart of the void, a pulse that had always been there, but was now consciously acknowledged. It wasn't born of external force, but from the inherent potential of Nun, stirred by Naunet's receptive nature. This was the nascent consciousness of the cosmos, realizing its own power, feeling the weight of infinite possibilities. The other deities felt it too, this subtle yet undeniable surge. The perfect equilibrium of their existence was beginning to waver, leaning towards an unknown, magnificent imbalance. The tremor from Nun and Naunet, the longing for something beyond stillness, resonated powerfully with Heh and Hauhet. As the embodiments of infinite space and time, they were keenly aware of the vastness that lay unutilized, the endless duration that unfolded without event. The burgeoning urge for creation, therefore, was not a disruption to them, but a magnificent opportunity. He felt the boundless expanse of his being as a canvas aching for color, a void yearning for definition. The space, it calls for occupation, his presence projected, a sensation of infinite emptiness now filled with a subtle hum of expectation. Room for worlds, for beings, for the dance of existence. Hauhet, feeling the endless flow of time, sensed a quickening, an acceleration of the eternal present towards a singular moment of genesis. And time, she resonated, her essence a subtle shift. It demands a beginning, a point from which all durations can be measured, all cycles can spin, their combined presence expanded not in a physical sense, but in a conceptual one. They amplified the feeling of potential, making the primordial void feel less like a prison of nothingness and more like a limitless stage awaiting its players. The immense scale of what could be, the staggering duration over which it could unfold, became palpable to the other deities. They were providing the conceptual framework, the ultimate parameters within which Nun's yearning could manifest. The chaos was not just stirring. It was becoming aware of its own magnificent potential for scope and longevity, preparing for a story that would stretch beyond comprehension. As the yearning of Nun and Naunet, amplified by the vastness of Heh and Hauhet, grew stronger, it began to interact with the domain of Kuk and Kauket. The profound darkness they embodied was no longer a static shroud, but became a medium, a canvas on which the nascent urges could be felt, almost seen. Kuk, the deep, impenetrable blackness, felt the stirrings as subtle shifts within his own being. The pure, undifferentiated darkness began to take on textures, shadows within shadows, depth within depth. It was as if the concept of concealment was itself becoming more nuanced, preparing to define what would be revealed. The cloak trembles, Kuk's presence conveyed a sense of gravitas and profound awareness. It anticipates being torn, yet knows its purpose, defines what emerges. Kauket, the active mystery, sensed the intricate patterns forming within the void. She perceived the interplay of hidden forces, the subtle dance of energies that were not yet light, but were no longer simply nothing. Her essence became a playful, almost mischievous anticipation, like a cat watching prey it cannot yet see, but knows is there. The veil thins, Kauket resonated, her presence a delightful tremor, not to vanish, but to reveal the shape of what will cast a shadow and what will bask in light. They were, in essence, sculpting the unseen, giving form to the formless through the very absence of light. Their role was critical, to provide the contrast, the negative space against which the coming creation would pop into existence. Without their profound, active darkness, the birth of light would be a homogeneous glow, unremarkable and undefined. By embracing the tension of the impending contrast, Kuk and Kauket ensured that the eventual illumination would be glorious, sharp and truly discernible against the vast, prepared backdrop of their eternal night. While the other pairs had defined the physical and temporal scope and the conceptual contrast, it was Amun and Amaunet, the hidden ones, who channeled the burgeoning energy, giving it direction and purpose. Their concealed power, the silent engine of creation, began to thrum with a conscious, irresistible will. Amun, the hidden force, felt the collective yearning coalesce within him. It was no longer a vague stirring, but a distinct impulse, a creative spark demanding ignition. The time for secrecy draws to a close, Amun's presence projected, a firm, resonant conviction. The concealed must manifest. The power desires to be known, Amaunet. The unseen wisdom understood the intricate symphony of potentials at play. She perceived the delicate balance between chaos and order, the necessity of a guiding hand to prevent the nascent energies from dissipating back into formless oblivion. The path lies within, Amaunet resonated, her essence a deep guiding certainty. We must seek the center, the heart of this shared desire, and give it voice. Their unified presence was like a gentle, magnetic force, drawing the disparate threads of the Ogdoad's shared consciousness together. They were the orchestrators, the silent conductors of the primordial symphony. Their hidden power was now consciously directed, focusing the vastness of Nun's waters, the boundlessness of Heh's space, the duration of Hauhet's time, and the profound mystery of Kuk's darkness, towards a single, ultimate goal, the emergence of something new, something luminous. The stage was not just set. It was charged, humming with the collective unspoken intention of the Eight, their hidden will, now a tangible driving force towards the grand unveiling. The abyss itself seemed to hold its breath, awaiting the next crucial step. The silent yearnings and conceptual shifts culminated in a profound, unified moment. The Eight, the Ogdoad, though still without discernible forms, gathered their essences. It was not a physical convergence, but a meeting of consciousness in the heart of the boundless Nun. The swirling, dark waters of the primordial abyss became a living council chamber, vibrating with their combined wills. Nun, the deep source, initiated the conscious communion. The weight of the unmanifested grows too great, he resonated, his voice a deep, sonorous hum that seemed to emerge from the very depths of the chaos. The waters can no longer hold all that longs to be, Naunet, his flowing counterpart affirmed. We are a river without banks, Nun. Our essence demands a direction, a purpose beyond eternal flow. The boundless space felt the pressure of potential. The space we define feels empty. It cries out for worlds, for beings to fill its infinite embrace. Hauhet, the infinite time added, and the duration, though endless, desires milestones, moments of creation, to mark its passage. Kuk, the profound darkness, acknowledged the yearning for contrast. Our shroud, though perfect, longs for the unveiling, for the light it will define. Kauket, the active mystery, chimed in. The secrets we hold are eager to be whispered into existence, to witness what is born from shadow. Finally, Amun, the hidden power, spoke with quiet authority. Our essence is to bring forth, to manifest the unseen. The time for passive potential is over. We must act. Amaunet, the unseen wisdom, provided the focus. We must find the point of emergence, the single spark that can ignite the cosmos, a focal point where all our attributes converge. Thus, the Ogdoad reached a consensus, a shared, powerful intention to move beyond primordial existence. Their combined wills began to stir the chaos with purpose, no longer mere ripples, but intentional currents. The great abyss, for the first time, felt the deliberate hand of its creators, guiding its unformed energies towards a singular, momentous event. The quiet council had set the grand project in motion. With the unified intention of the Ogdoad, the amorphous energies of Nun began to coalesce in a more dynamic fashion. The previously featureless expanse, though still dark and watery, now swirled with currents of intent, eddies of nascent power. It was in this intensified, purposeful chaos that the symbol of the serpent began to manifest. Not a physical creature of scales and fangs, but a colossal, undulating force, a living representation of primeval energy and the cyclical nature of existence. This serpent, immense and without end, began to coil through the deep waters. It was the dynamic essence of Kuk and Kauket's darkness, the profound mystery given form as a powerful, sinuous protector of the unrevealed. Its vast, unseen body wove through the currents, its movements stirring Nun's waters with powerful, rhythmic undulations. Each turn of its unseen coils was a beat, a pulse of creation, accelerating the transformation of chaos. Heh Hauhet felt its boundless reach. its body stretching across infinite space and through endless time, tying all elements together. Amun recognized its inherent power, the hidden strength now made manifest as a colossal, living force of nature. The serpent was the embodiment of creation's struggle, the coiled potential, the protective guardian of the cosmic egg yet to be. Its formless scales shimmered with the dark energies of the abyss, its movements deliberate, powerful. It was not destructive, but transformative, its embrace tightening around an invisible center, compressing the chaotic elements, urging them towards singularity. Its immense, silent presence was a spectacle of primordial might, a living embodiment of the churning deep, preparing for the birth of something utterly new. The coiled serpent was both the container and the catalyst, actively shaping the unformed matter of the universe. As the primordial serpent coiled and stirred the deep, a miraculous phenomenon began to occur at its very heart. From the infinite dark waters of Nun, a subtle resistance formed, a focal point where the swirling energies met and coalesced. This was the first land, the Benben Mound, the primordial hill that would serve as the altar of creation. It began as an imperceptible rise, a slight densification in the otherwise fluid chaos. But as the Ogdoad concentrated their wills, and the serpent's embrace tightened, it gained solidity. Slowly, majestically, a small dark mound broke the unseen surface of Nun. It was not a violent eruption, but a gentle, deliberate emergence, as if the waters themselves were giving birth to their opposite. "Behold," Nun resonated, a profound sense of pride and wonder rippling through his watery essence. The first solid form, a point of anchor in the endless. Naunet, seeing the stability, felt a sense of relief. A foundation, a place for the breath of life to land. Heh Hauhet marveled at the localized boundary within their boundlessness, a defined space within the infinite. Kuk Kauket watched as shadows now had a surface to cling to, giving the darkness a new dimension. And Amun Amaunet knew this was the sacred center, the focal point for their hidden power to be unleashed. The Benben Mound, still slick with the dark waters of Nun, glistened with potential. It was the first solid thing in existence, a beacon of order amidst the chaos. It represented the triumph of form over formlessness, the first step towards a structured cosmos. It was here, upon this hallowed ground, that the next, most crucial phase of creation would unfold. The stage was not merely set, it was now anchored, solid, and ready for the grand unveiling. Upon the newly risen Benben Mound, now a palpable point of stability within the fluid chaos, the Ogdoad initiated their most profound act yet, the Chant of Creation. It was not a song of melodic notes, but a unified resonance, a symphony of their collective essences, a primordial incantation that would summon forth the ultimate genesis. Each deity contributed their unique power to the chant. Nun Naunet provided the deep, resonant hum of the primordial waters, the fundamental frequency of existence itself. Heh Hauhet added the expansive, echoing tones of infinite space and timeless duration, stretching the sound to fill the boundless void. Kuk Kauket wove in the profound, mysterious undertones of deep darkness, giving the chant a powerful, awe-inspiring gravitas. Finally, Amun Amaunet, the hidden ones, supplied the pulsing rhythm, the unseen beat of creation, the directed will that shaped the sound into intention. Hark! Amun's essence projected, his hidden power now flowing freely, guiding the other seven. Let our combined voices sculpt the unseen, awaken the dormant, and bring forth the light. Amunet's wisdom resonated. Let the sound be the seed, the vibration the catalyst, the word the form. The chant intensified, building into a cosmic crescendo. The air, though not yet truly air, vibrated with sound. The waters of Nun churned in response, not chaotically, but in rhythmic spirals around the Benben Mound. The serpent, still coiled around the mound, seemed to tighten its embrace, its unseen body pulsing with the rhythm of the chant. This was the first true act of conscious magic, the primordial language of creation, spoken into the heart of chaos. The combined will and power of the eight were pouring into a singular point, driving the universe towards its inevitable dawn. The very fabric of reality seemed to strain under the immense force of their collective invocation, awaiting the grand manifestation. As the chant of creation reached its apex, vibrating through the boundless waters of Nun, an unprecedented energy began to concentrate at the pinnacle of the Benben Mound. The very structure of the primordial hill seemed to hum, almost to breathe, with an immense building force. The Ogdoad, their essences still intertwined in the powerful chant, felt it as a growing pressure, an imminent breakthrough. The entire primordial realm became a single, throbbing entity. The serpent's coils tightened further, its movements no longer stirring, but holding, containing the immense power. The waters of Nun surged and retreated in perfect rhythm with the chant, reflecting the internal convulsions of creation. The immense darkness of Kuk and Kauket thinned at the focal point, becoming a palpable, yet translucent, membrane over the burgeoning light. Amun and Amaunet, having guided the collective will, now felt the hidden power within themselves reaching its critical mass. "It is upon us." Amun's essence resonated, a burst of exhilaration and anticipation. The moment of unveiling. Amunet's presence was a steadying force, a calm certainty amidst the cosmic birth pangs. Hold the chant, hold the focus. The vessel is forming, the light approaches. A series of pulses, like a cosmic heartbeat, began to emanate from the Benben. Each pulse grew stronger, brighter, subtly illuminating the immediate vicinity, making the surrounding darkness seem even more profound. These were not flashes of light, but internal surges of immense potential, like a star forming within a nebula, still hidden but radiating immense heat and pressure. The Ogdoad maintained their chant, their voices now a unified beacon, directing every ounce of their being toward this singular point of emergence. The universe itself paused, suspended in this breathtaking moment of profound imminent change, awaiting the grand reveal. The immense pressure from the great pulse intensified, and then, slowly, majestically, a form began to emerge from the crest of the Benben Mound. It was not a sudden burst, but a deliberate, almost organic unfolding, nurtured by the unified will of the Ogdoad and the ceaseless chant. First, from the dark, swirling waters at the base of the mound, a magnificent azure lotus flower began to rise, its petals glowing with an inner luminescence even in the profound darkness, unfurled with exquisite slowness. It was a bloom of impossible beauty, its deep blue hues hinting at a sky yet to be, its form perfect and serene amidst the turbulent energies. The lotus floated gently, anchored to the Benben, its fragrant, ethereal scent permeating the conceptual space. As the final, innermost petals of the lotus opened, they revealed not an empty heart, but a singular, luminous object nestled within, a cosmic egg. It was perfectly ovoid, shimmering with an inner light that pulsed with the energy of a nascent star. Its shell, though smooth and flawless, bore intricate, barely visible patterns, the blueprints of existence. "The genetic code of the cosmos, the vessel," Naunet whispered, her watery essence flowing with reverence. "So beautiful, so fragile, yet so potent." "And the seed within," Amun affirmed, his hidden power now visibly radiating towards the egg, nourishing its internal growth. The lotus, a symbol of purity and rebirth, cradled the egg, a symbol of potential and creation. They were two perfect forms, born from the chaos, embodying the hopes and intentions of the Ogdoad. The combined energies of the eight poured into this sacred cradle, urging the egg to its ultimate purpose. The chant of creation continued, a soft, harmonious hum now, a lullaby for the birth of the first light. All eyes, or rather all essences of the Ogdoad, were fixed upon the luminous egg, awaiting the cracking, the unfolding, the grand reveal of what lay within its shimmering shell. The universe held its breath, ready for the dawn. The luminous cosmic egg, cradled within the unfurling petals of the azure lotus, began to thrum with an internal vibration unlike anything the Ogdoad had yet experienced. It was the sound of life stirring, a rhythmic crackle from within the flawless shell. The light radiating from the egg intensified, casting ethereal glows across the face of the Benben Mound, and illuminating the immediate swirls of Nun's dark waters. Then, A faint fracture appeared on the egg's surface, a hairline crack that quickly spiderwebbed outwards. A soft golden glow pulsed from within the fissures, growing brighter with each passing moment. The chant of the Ogdoad shifted, becoming a chorus of profound anticipation, a sacred hush falling over the primordial deep. From within the splitting shell, pushing with immense, silent effort, emerged Khepri. He was not yet the dazzling, fully formed Ra, but the scarab beetle of dawn, the humble yet powerful mover of the sun. His carapace gleamed with the iridescent colors of a sunrise, his powerful legs already at work. He was a creature of singular purpose, to push the nascent orb of the sun into existence. With a focused, determined energy, Khepri began to roll a small, but intensely bright golden disk out from the shattered egg. This was the first spark of the sun, a miniature star, pulsing with nascent warmth and light. It was the embodiment of creation's relentless drive, the persistent force that pushes light into being from the deepest darkness. The beginning, Hauhet resonated, her voice filled with awe. The first motion of the grand cycle, Kuk, the darkness, felt the profound change. A counterpoint to our eternal night, he observed, not with regret, but with a sense of cosmic fulfillment. The great balance is being set. Khepri, with an unwavering purpose, continued to push the golden orb. His emergence was the critical transition, the physical manifestation of the Ogdoad's collective will, ushering in the very first dawn. The raw, untamed light of the sunseed pulsed, and with each push from Khepri, it grew stronger, promising the full glory that was about to break forth. The world, still a chaotic, watery expanse, was on the cusp of true illumination. As Khepri, the scarab of dawn, tirelessly pushed the nascent golden orb from the shattered cosmic egg, the light it emitted rapidly grew in intensity. The small pulsing sphere began to expand, its warmth reaching outwards, chasing away the cold primordial gloom of Kuk and Kauket. The petals of the azure lotus, still cradling the remnants of the egg, seemed to drink in this new radiance, glowing even more vibrantly. Then, with a final magnificent surge, the golden orb swelled and ascended from the Benben Mound. It was no longer a mere disk, but a blinding, majestic presence. It was Ra, the sun god, the embodiment of the first pure light, the radiant eye of the cosmos. Ra hovered above the Benben, a sphere of incandescent brilliance. His light was absolute, profound, and utterly transformative. It cut through the infinite darkness of Nun like a divine blade, pushing back the shadows to reveal, for the first time, the contours of the primordial waters, the nascent horizons, and the vast, empty expanse defined by Heh and Hauhet. The Ogdoad, witnessing this spectacular birth, felt a tremor of awe that shook their very essences. They who had lived in and defined the darkness were now bathed in an overwhelming, glorious light. Light. Naunet whispered, her watery form shimmering with iridescent colors, reflecting the new dawn. Pure, magnificent light. Amun, the Hidden One, felt his purpose fulfilled, his hidden power now manifest as the most visible force in the universe. The veil is lifted, he proclaimed, his essence resonating with triumph. The cosmos is revealed. Ra's presence was not merely illumination, it was creation itself. With his appearance, warmth spread, colors began to differentiate, and the very concept of vision was born. The chaotic waters settled into defined boundaries under his gaze. The unformed began to take shape. The first day had truly begun, a testament to the collective will and intricate dance of the 8 primordial deities. The age of absolute darkness was over, replaced by the blazing glory of Ra, the golden eye, now sovereign over all that was and would be. The emergence of Ra was not merely a moment of illumination. It was a cosmic explosion of light that flooded the entirety of the primordial realm. The brilliance was absolute, consuming the deep, eternal darkness of Kuk and Kauket, not destroying it, but pushing it back to the very edges of existence, defining it as the antithesis of this new, vibrant reality. The light of Ra was warm, palpable, and invigorating. It transformed the endless dark waters of Nun into a shimmering, iridescent expanse. Where before there was only an undifferentiated abyss, Now there were depths and surfaces, reflections and refractions. The Benben Mound, upon which Ra had ascended, glowed with an ethereal aura, a sacred pinnacle touched by the divine. Heh and Hauhet, the embodiments of space and time, watched as their boundless domains were suddenly filled with vivid clarity. Distances became measurable, perspectives emerged, and the eternal present gained a definite now. The very concept of visibility, of seeing and being seen, was born with Ra's radiance. The world is born in light, Amun resonated. His previously hidden power, now a benevolent, sustaining presence. No longer concealed, but revealed in its nascent glory. Naunet's waters rippled with joyous energy, reflecting the sun's golden hues. The flow has found its path, the vision its expanse. This is creation in its truest form. The Ogdoad, enveloped in the overwhelming glory, felt a profound sense of accomplishment and wonder. Their long journey from primordial stillness to active creation had culminated in this spectacular moment. The world, though still nascent and fluid, was no longer a blank canvas, but a vibrant, living entity, bathed in the life-giving embrace of the first sun. The chaos had been stirred, challenged, and ultimately transformed into the genesis of cosmos, all under the flooding radiance of Ra. With Ra blazing mightily above the Benben Mound, the previously undifferentiated expanse began to solidify and define itself. The light, guided by the silent collective will of the Ogdoad, performed the next grand act of creation, the establishment of the horizon. Ra's brilliant gaze separated the elements that had been intertwined in Nun. The heavy, dark waters settled further, forming the vast, foundational ocean. Above them, a shimmering ethereal dome began to crystallize, the primordial sky. Between these two, a distinct line emerged, the horizon, the first boundary, the initial separation of realms. This act of division was crucial. It created up and down, above and below, giving structure to the boundless space Heh embodied. The infinite realm was now segmented, providing a framework for all future creation. The light of Ra, diffused by the nascent atmosphere, began to take on the familiar hues of a vibrant dawn sky, blues and purples at the edges, gradually deepening into the radiant gold surrounding the sun itself. The sky above, the waters below, Amun proclaimed, a sense of deep satisfaction in his resonance. Order begins to take hold. A clear separation, Kauket noted, her essence no longer of total darkness, but of shadows now defined by light. Our mystery gains depth against this new clarity. The serpent, which had coiled around the Benben, now stretched outwards, its massive, unseen form delineating the newly formed cosmic ocean. Its presence became the boundary, a living ring around the emerging world. The establishment of the horizon marked a pivotal moment. It was the first act of cosmic architecture, transforming mere expanse into a structured universe, ready to house the myriad forms of life that would eventually arise under Ra's watchful, golden eye. The Ra creation was moving towards an elegant, purposeful. No sooner had Ra established the first horizon and filled the cosmos with his glorious light than a new, profound mystery began to unfold. As the vastness of the new sky stretched across the primordial waters, Ra began a deliberate movement. Slowly, majestically, he ascended to the zenith of the celestial dome, his light reaching its fullest intensity, bathing the entire world in an unbroken brilliance. This was the first noon, a moment of perfect illumination, but then an inherent design, a rhythm woven into the very fabric of existence by Hauhet, began to assert itself. Just as Ra had risen, he began, with the same slow majesty, to descend towards the western horizon, the very edge of the newly defined world. The light, though still potent, began to soften, its golden hues deepening into oranges and purples. He moves, Heh observed, his boundless space now a stage for this cosmic journey. The light does not remain static. The cycle begins, Hauhet confirmed, her essence humming with the profound rhythm of time. Day must give way to night, so that day may come again. As Ra dipped below the western horizon, An indescribable awe tinged with a primordial fear swept through the Ogdoad. The glorious light receded, and the familiar, yet now infinitely richer darkness of Kuk and Kauket began to reclaim the sky. It was not the absolute, undifferentiated darkness of before, but a patterned, starlit night, still mysterious, but now clearly defined as a temporary state. The world, for the first time, knew night. The Ogdoad understood. This was the very first sunset, the establishment of the cosmic rhythm. It was a balance, a necessary ebb and flow, ensuring that light would never be taken for granted, and darkness would always hold the promise of dawn. The endless flow of Hauhet's time had found its grandest manifestation, the eternal cycle of day and night, the breath of the cosmos. As Ra completed his first full cycle, dipping below the horizon into the newly formed Duat, the unseen realm of night, and then, after an interval of profound darkness that hinted at cosmic slumber, reappearing in the east to herald the second dawn, a new principle began to solidify. This was Ma'at, the cosmic order, balance, truth, and justice. It wasn't a deity, but an inherent quality, an underlying structure that bound the nascent universe together. The Ogdoad felt Ma'at's emergence not as a sudden force, but as a deep, reassuring resonance, a sense of inherent rightness in the established cycles. The predictable rhythm of day and night, the clear separation of sky and water, the very existence of light and shadow in harmonious opposition, all these were manifestations of Ma'at. The universe finds its equilibrium, Nun resonated, his waters now flowing with purpose, held within their banks. A divine order guides all. Amun, whose hidden power had initiated the creation, now understood the underlying wisdom that sustained it. "This is the truth of our making," he proclaimed. "The balance we sought now manifest as the law of all existence." Ma'at was the invisible thread connecting every aspect of creation, ensuring that chaos would not reclaim its absolute dominion. It was the understanding that for light to exist, darkness must also be that for life to flourish, there must be a cycle of renewal. The Ogdoad, having brought forth creation from chaos, now observed the birth of the principle that would govern its harmonious continuation. Ma'at was the silent promise that the cosmos, though vast and ever-changing, would forever remain in a state of divinely ordained balance, a testament to the profound wisdom inherent in their primordial act of genesis. The foundational laws of the universe were now laid. With Ma'at established, setting the foundational laws of cosmic balance and rhythm, Ra now took on a more defined role in the unfolding universe. His journey across the sky was no longer a simple ascent and descent, but a deliberate, purposeful voyage. To accomplish this, the concept of the primordial bark, the solar boat, began to manifest. This was not a boat crafted of wood or metal, but a vessel of pure light and intention, formed from Ra's own radiant essence and guided by the newly understood principles of Ma'at. It was a golden sweeping crescent, shimmering with an otherworldly glow, capable of traversing both the luminous expanse of the day sky and the hidden, mysterious pathways of the Duat during the night. Ra, in his full, majestic form, now stood at the helm of this celestial bark. With him, subtle, nascent forms of deities who would serve as his crew began to take shape, concepts of perception, wisdom, and protection born from the residual energies of the Ogdoad's creation. They were the first attendants of the sun, ensuring its passage. The Ogdoad, witnessing this elegant design, understood the ongoing commitment required to maintain creation. Nun's waters supported the sky, his space provided the path, Kuk's darkness allowed for passage through the Duat, and Amun's hidden power propelled the bark forward. The light has its conveyance, Naunet observed, her waters now serving as the ultimate river, reflecting the bark's journey. A journey eternal, a constant renewal, and with it, the universe is measured moment by moment, Hauhet added, the duration of time now marked by the sun's passage. The primordial bark became the enduring symbol of Ra's tireless work, his daily renewal, and his eternal struggle against the forces of chaos that still lurked at the edges of the ordered cosmos. It was the daily ritual, the grandest spectacle, ensuring that light and life would continue to grace the burgeoning world, a direct legacy of the Ogdoad's initial, magnificent act of creation. With Ma'at established, setting the foundational laws of cosmic balance and rhythm, Ra now took on a more defined role in the unfolding universe. His journey across the sky was no longer a simple ascent and descent, but a deliberate, purposeful voyage. To accomplish this, the concept of the primordial bark, the solar boat, began to manifest. This was not a boat crafted of wood or metal, but a vessel of pure light and intention, formed from Ra's own radiant essence and guided by the newly understood principles of Ma'at. It was a golden sweeping crescent, shimmering with an otherworldly glow, capable of traversing both the luminous expanse of the day sky and the hidden, mysterious pathways of the Duat during the night. Ra, in his full, majestic form, now stood at the helm of this celestial bark. With him, subtle, nascent forms of deities who would serve as his crew began to take shape, concepts of perception, wisdom, and protection born from the residual energies of the Ogdoad's creation. They were the first attendants of the sun, ensuring its passage. The Ogdoad, witnessing this elegant design, understood the ongoing commitment required to maintain creation. Nun's waters supported the sky, his space provided the path, Kuk's darkness allowed for passage through the Duat, and Amun's hidden power propelled the bark forward. The light has its conveyance, Naunet observed, her waters now serving as the ultimate river, reflecting the bark's journey. A journey eternal, a constant renewal, and with it, the universe is measured moment by moment, Hauhet added, the duration of time now marked by the sun's passage. The primordial bark became the enduring symbol of Ra's tireless work, his daily renewal, and his eternal struggle against the forces of chaos that still lurked at the edges of the ordered cosmos. It was the daily ritual, the grandest spectacle, ensuring that light and life would continue to grace the burgeoning world, a direct legacy of the Ogdoad's initial, magnificent act of creation. While Ra sailed his magnificent bark across the sky during the day, bringing light and life to the nascent world, his nightly journey was equally crucial and vastly different. As he dipped below the western horizon, he entered the Duat, the mysterious underworld, a realm forged from the very darkness that Kuk and Kauket had embodied. The Duat was not a place of evil, but of profound transition, a mirror realm to the living world, essential for the cosmic balance. It was where Ra renewed himself, battled the lingering forces of chaos embodied by serpents like Apep, and ensured his triumphant return with the dawn. The path through the Duat was intricate, guarded by ancient entities and flowing with dark, subterranean rivers. Kuk and Kauket, who had defined the primordial darkness, found their new purpose in shaping this realm. They became the quiet architects of the Duat, ensuring its balance and its crucial role in the cosmic cycle. Their shadows were now purposeful, their mysteries guardians of transformation. The other side of existence, Kuk's essence resonated, a deep knowing calm, where light is tested and rebirth prepared. The journey through the unknown, Kauket added, her presence a soft guiding light within the profound shadows. Necessary for the next dawn, the Duat, though dark, was not without structure. It was filled with echoes of the primordial waters traversed by Ra's solar bark, now a vessel of transition. Heh Hauhet ensured its boundless yet defined passages, while Nun Naunet provided the dark, renewing waters that flowed through its depths. Amun Amaunet's hidden power helped Ra navigate its hidden dangers. The Duat completed the cosmic geography, establishing a necessary counterpart to the sunlit world, a place of renewal and recreation, ensuring the eternal continuation of the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. It was the Ogdoad's final profound gift to the evolving cosmos, a balanced journey through light and shadow. With the cosmos structured, the cycle of day and night established, Ma'at woven into the fabric of reality, and Ra diligently sailing his bark through both sky and duat, the work of the Ogdoad was complete. Their direct intervention in the creation had culminated, and the time for them to recede, to return to their state of primordial essence, arrived. They did not vanish, but rather their active presences dissolved back into the foundational elements of the universe. Nun Naunet became the eternal sustaining waters of the cosmos, the deep reservoir from which all life springs. Heh Hauhet became the limitless expanse of space and the ceaseless flow of time, the grand canvas upon which all events would unfold. Kuk Kauket became the profound mystery of night, the deep shadows, and the unknown depths that would forever balance the light. Amun Amaunet became the hidden force of creation, the subtle breath of life, the invisible power that permeates all things. Their legacy, however, was not forgotten. Their story, the tale of the 8 primordial ones who stirred the chaos to bring forth the sun, was imprinted upon the very consciousness of the nascent world. It would become the Genesis myth, whispered on the first winds, sung by the first birds, and eventually retold by the first sentient beings. In a specific corner of the world, where the Nile would one day flow and life would flourish, a city would rise. It would be called Kamenu, the City of the 8, later known to others as Hermopolis. Here, the memory of the Ogdoad's creative act would be cherished, their names invoked in ancient rites, their story serving as the foundational truth for generations. The Ogdoad, in their subtle, eternal state, became the gentle guardians of the cosmic order they had forged. Their whispers, though no longer direct commands, continued to resonate through the elements they embodied, a constant reminder of the profound power that lay at the heart of creation. They were the primordial architects, their masterpiece, the living, breathing universe, now a testament to their unified will, their enduring presence a silent promise of continuity and renewal. Their work was done, but their essence remained, woven into the very fabric of existence, waiting to be rediscovered in the echoes of time. The first light, born from the depths of the undifferentiated Nun, had transformed the absolute chaos into a structured cosmos. The silent, yearning wills of Nun Naunet, Heh Hauhet, Kuk Kauket, and Amun Amaunet had coalesced, giving rise to the Benben Mound, the azure lotus, and the cosmic egg. From that luminous shell emerged Khepri, pushing forth Ra, the golden eye, who brought forth the glorious, flooding radiance, establishing horizons and critically the rhythmic cycle of day and night, Ma'at. The principle of cosmic order and balance was woven into this new reality, ensuring harmony between light and shadow, creation and renewal. Ra's primordial bark began its eternal journey, guided by this nascent order, while the Bennu bird sang the song of rebirth, and the Duat embraced its role as the realm of transformation. The great work of the Ogdoad was a symphony of opposites, darkness giving way to light, formlessness to form, stillness to movement. Their legacy was the world itself, alive and vibrant, governed by a cycle of perpetual return. Every sunrise, a testament to their unified will. Every sunset, a promise of the dawn to come. The initial act of creation, the profound genesis from the watery abyss, echoed endlessly in the heart of every living thing, in the beat of every passing moment. The light, once hidden in the deep, now danced across the heavens, an eternal reminder that from the most profound depths of potential, the most magnificent realities could always bloom. The cycle, once begun, would never end, a continuous testament to the 8 and the dawn.